Today on The Social, King Charles arrives to open Canada's 45th Parliament alongside Prime Minister Carney. In light of President Trump's annexation threats, is this the right move? And keeping up with Kris? People are doing double takes over Kris Jenner's new look. But is her reveal exciting or extreme? Then, Alberta steak sandwiches, Winnipeg-style cheeseburgers, boneless dry ribs, mouth-watering pub fare from the Prairies. Plus, empowering the next generation, lawyer and disability advocate Lindsay Mazza tells us what kids with disabilities really need, beyond ramps, policies, and checklists. It all starts now on The Social.
Exploded. Yeah. Look at yourselves. Okay, welcome to The Social. Happy Monday, everybody. Why don't we get this show started with the pomp and circumstance going down in Ottawa? Yes. Have you been keeping up on this? King Charles and Queen Camilla, they are literally about to land in Ottawa, Ontario, to take part in 2 days of official duties. The King will be delivering the throne speech tomorrow. So we're going to kick off this convo with, is this the right move in light of Trump's annexation threats? Is this the right move? Is this the right move?
Well, some people feel like it is. Some people feel like the idea that Trump, or rather before Trump, the whole issue and the annexation talk and the tariffs, that everyone was kind of ambivalent about the monarchy. But now, people who were ambivalent before, or even people who were anti-monarchists, are like, yes, this is what we have now. We have this attachment. Look at us. We have this attachment to this historical institution. This is who we are, and it really sort of delineates us from the American political system to our constitutional monarchy. But then, did you guys hear what the ambassador to Canada, the U.S. ambassador to Canada said?
Uh-oh, what?
He said in an interview this week, and he's like, oh, no one's even talking about that anymore, about the annexation. Trump's dropped it weeks ago. No one's talking about it. The only one that's talking about it is Canada. Kind of made us sound pathetic, like we're holding on to this. Do you know what I mean?
What's his name again? What's his name again?
That's really good. But it did get me thinking, are we holding on to this?
It's a really interesting
Are
question.
we holding on to this trauma?
Well, I definitely was not letting it go for a long time. So it's understandable. He's unpredictable. I think we can't let it go until eventually there's been enough time and distance that he hasn't mentioned it again. But I think you're right. This is a flex of some kind. CNN actually called this a highly symbolic whistle stop trip, which is different from a highly symbolic like dog whistle trip. I think that would be a different meaning. Although I do think there is a dog whistle here, and Trump is probably like kind of like just not really understanding why he's a little upset. Yeah. I think this is saying like, look, we have this is friendship. Like I think that Mark Carney's trying to say like this is what loyalty looks like. And I think this is going to be a really interesting move and a delicate dance that Charles has to play, because he also can't be coming in and being like, look, like he can't say, not that he would, but he can't say anything really inflammatory, because you have to remember the UK Prime Minister is doing a dance with Trump as well, and he wants to help out with Ukraine. So you can't ruffle feathers too much. So this is an interesting thing to watch.
Yeah, you guys know, if you've been watching the show for the 12 seasons, girl has had an evolution on her feelings about the monarchy. I went from being a staunchly pro-monarchist person, because I truly believe in the transcendent power that monarchy has. And funny enough, we're kind of circling back there again. I fell out of love with the monarchy, as a lot of Canadians did, when we were reckoning with the historic treatment of Indigenous peoples in this country, to be quite frank. And I started to really wrestle with this idea that can you still be this beacon of hope when you're not doing your part in reconciliation? And I'll be honest, I was wrestling with that for a long time. I was supposed to be in Ottawa this week, but I'm right here with all of y'all, which is exactly where I want to be. And that's because of this wrestling. I think the timing is so interesting. The monarchy is supposed to be above politics, and this is so political. I'm salivating over this. I love this.
No, listen, I have complicated feelings about this. And I'm just curious, I want to check the temperature in the room. How do you guys feel about King Charles coming to Canada? Okay, I'd say the majority are happy about. Listen, for the past couple years, thanks to the Netflix series The Crown, I was so into everything royal. The drama between Diana and Camilla and Charles and Camilla and Queen and her sister, I was eating it up. I loved it. And then I had a really strong conversation with one of my family members who's from the Caribbean, born and raised, and they have a very different perspective on the royals and how they impacted the Caribbean. And that kind of squashed all of that kind of conversation for me. But then at the same time, when the royals come to do anything, any kind of gathering, nobody does pomp and ceremony like the royals. And I don't care what anybody says, whether you love them or hate them, there's something about that man on a uniform click-clocking with the horse and the trumpet sounding as they arrive that I still really like, and I'm still going to... It's
living history.
I'm still going to watch. It's like going to grandma's house. Is grandma a little, like, on PC, right? Is she a little racist and she doesn't like the LGBT? Yes! Yes! But there's something about her house that I just kind of like. It's comfortable.
Comforting.
It's comforting. So it's this very complicated relationship that I have that I going to watch? Yes. And at the same time, as we were all talking about the fact that our relationship with our longtime allies in the U.S. has disintegrated, now I'm looking at our allies very differently. And I'm like, yes, come, Charles, come, have a seat. What do you need? Because we feel like we're on the same team and we all have a common enemy. And what do they say? My enemy's enemy is my friend. I feel like we're all kind of having that same feeling.
I love how you say it feels like grandma, because I saw this, and if you look at our cards, the story name is called Daddy's Home.
That's a different vibe from Grandma's house.
I don't think he's daddy.
Yeah.
I can look at him. Daddy Charles? Absolutely. To me, not sexually. Get your heads out of the gutter.
We're all in that same place.
I'm not sexual. This is not sexual. I mean the idea, okay, fine. Big brother Charles. Is that better?
Yes. Uncle Charles.
You are all,
Papa.
you know what?
Charles. Uncle Charles.
Grandpa Charles.
Uncle Charlie.
Right.
Sounds a lot less.
Papa.
No. Guys, okay, we're gonna stay tuned to this. We will watch it and maybe we will revisit tomorrow. But we're gonna move on to this. The Cannes Film Festival wrapped up over the weekend. And so we wanna talk about our standout look from the French Riviera. I'm gonna start, guys, okay? Because I think the thing is if you're gonna go to a festival like Cannes, you want to be remembered, right? You want to stand out, especially if you're not necessarily there because of a movie. And so that's exactly what happened with model Mitchell Akat Maruko Ran. Look at this outfit.
What is that?
It features a full leopard head. Yes, you are seeing that correctly. I just would say that this is challenging fashion boundaries. So this is a design, Mel, you will appreciate this, by Filipino designer Harvey Sinit, who wrote on his Instagram that she embodied fierce glamour and feline grace, blending strength and sensuality in a stunning tribute to the wild. This is a designer that is actually extremely well known in the Middle East and is sort of just breaking into different parts of the world now. And he's known for also the sort of playful, humorous, and very feminist kinds of outfits that he does. He dressed her once before when she came on the red carpet last year. She wore this Medusa. It was called The Wrath of Medusa. And so every time she kind of breaks the internet with what she shows up on a red carpet, and I think this is a standout moment in a sea of sort of classic suits and gowns.
Right.
She made her
Oh my
mark.
God, Harvey, call me.
There we go.
Call me.
Great choice.
That's amazing.
That's absolutely
Great
great.
choice.
Wow.
And her face looks just so cheekbones.
Well, for my choice, I'd like to go back to Daddy's. Specifically, Daddy Alexander Skarsgård. Skarsgård, rather. He is looking really good, head to toe Saint Laurent, but let's go back to those toes for a second. And he is actually literally playing a biker daddy in a BDSM movie at Cannes, and I think he's sort of channeling that.
Really? Looks
his
like he's about to
fictional
go
character.
clam digging or something.
Well, see, I think
I was going to say riding a
see
horse.
them as like kinky, or like a nod to kinky boots.
Yes.
Maybe a kinky boot.
Okay.
But I personally see more Puss in Boots. And
Yeah, that is very Puss in Boots.
but you know what? Meow, meow, mama like. Daddy.
Yeah, it's giving something. But yeah, okay, we're just gonna move on. All right, so I chose another gentleman who I think is making, every time I see him on the red carpet, he impresses me more. I'm talking about actor Jeremy Strong from Succession. This man is not afraid. You know, the men typically show up in like a black suit. Jeremy's like, I'm not doing that. He didn't have his signature bucket hat on, but this is a custom-made Lanvin suit. Now, when you think powder blue suit, you don't think something stylish, but for me, he just really looked fantastic, and every time I see him now, he's catching my attention. I see you, Jeremy. I like what you're doing.
Really starting to turn up.
I like it when the men turn up. Not so much in the boots.
Yep.
But I do like that.
Yeah. There was a lot of firsts and wows on the red carpet. There was the first ever haute couture house to do their version of a sari, and that was on actress Aaliyah Bhatt wearing custom Gucci sari.
Wow.
This just
beautiful.
blew me away. I mean, I need this in my life.
Now, this is interesting.
This is interesting.
In light of also their anti-naked dress rule that was introduced this year.
But that's clearly lined. It's clearly lined. It's a first. If you look, that's actually embroidered with the double G's. That's thousands of Swarovski crystals. So they've got the double G's linked. It's the first ever. It was custom designed. Aaliyah Bhatt is an award-winning Hindi artist. She's huge in Bollywood. She has won so many awards. And now she's taking, again, you have these moments where you're like, I'm sorry, everyone in the world should know her. I didn't know her before this, but now I do, and I want to know more. Because this outfit is, Gucci just does no wrong in my eyes for fashion. This is when you cross the boundary, and I was reading what Indian media was saying about her, and they were like, this is a cultural moment for Indian fashion. I thought, beautiful.
Good stuff.
Absolutely stunning. Ooh. Okay, why don't we take a quick break, and then keeping up with Kris, as in Kris Jenner's new look. That's got everybody talking.
Tomorrow on The Social, actor and comedian Jack Annanen sits down to talk awkward transitions, hilarious missteps, and adults, the new coming-of-age series. This week on The Social, the co-ord trend, matching sets to pick up for fuss-free dressing and an easy breezy summer.
Welcome back, everybody. Woo! We are on fire in here on this Monday, and if you'd like to chime in on the topics you're hearing on the show, get us on social media and have your voice heard.
All right, so let's dive into this next one. If you thought that this was Kim Kardashian, you'd be forgiven because it is 69-year-old Kris Jenner, her mom. Her new look is strikingly similar to her daughter's. While the momager hasn't confirmed anything, People magazine is reporting that she had aesthetic enhancements done by a New York City plastic surgeon. So is this exciting or is this extreme, audience? Extreme. Okay, what do you guys think?
Ooh, listen, I am so excited for her. No one can deny that she looks fantastic. Like, she looks fantastic. And you know, when I look at our culture, women can't win. You know, if you don't do anything, people are going to talk about you. If you do something, people are going to talk about you. Which at the end of the day, then do what you want. Because someone's going to always have an opinion. But also, when you look at the line or the menu of options, you know, one Kris Jenner's facelift is another woman's yoga practice or collagen smoothie. What's the line? We all do things to anti-age. I dye my roots. I work out. Some people get knee replacements. We're all aging. How you choose to age should be nobody's business, in my opinion. And the reason why I'm excited about this is, you know, to me, you should be able to age your way. And I think for me, it is about not vanity, but it is in fact about agency. And I think that she can't win. And she's also created one of the largest, most successful entertainment empires on the planet. So if this makes her look good and feel good, who the heck am I to judge her? She looks fabulous. Sign me up! I'm out.
Tell me how you feel, Jess Allen.
Well, first she does look amazing. She does look amazing.
She looks good. She looks good.
But I don't know why it makes me feel so scared, I guess, like that aging is something to fear and to be avoided at all costs. And then that scaredness turns into anger because I'm gonna be honest, I'm never gonna do that. Not because I'm above it. No, don't clap. It's because I'm too cheap. I'm too cheap to do it. I'm too cheap and I'm too lazy. So I'm never gonna do this. And so why I get angry is this could very well be the norm. And so I'm, in 20 years, gonna look like the odd, weird person out.
No.
Because I'm gonna look my age. And then I have questions because who is winning here? Are we really showing the patriarchy? Yeah, we got you now. Are we really showing our young girls like you can grow up to be very strong and powerful, but you won't look like you grew up because you're gonna look like a little itty baby?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm
See,
so angry.
Don't be angry because I don't think you're going to be by yourself because I think what we're not thinking about is Kris Jenner's circle. I think the circle of people you hang with will affect the decisions that you make. Remember, she's in Calabasas, baby. She's in a famous family. All of her family members, everybody she knows has had something done. If you've been to Los Angeles, you know what I'm talking about. Everybody's got the face. So I don't think you're going to be in your regular life running around people who are like getting their faces changed that much.
At the checkout
we
counter.
live in a normal world where everybody looks the same. Maybe they're getting a little injection here or there, but not like a full
there is that
facelift.
trickle-down effect. There is that trickle-down effect.
Sure, it's a trickle, but is it going to be a full facelift? I don't know. But I'll say this much. I'm going to blame the person who's responsible for this, and that is Miss Lindsay Lohan. Because
really?
Yes! Lindsay showed up a few months ago with a brand new face, and the internet went wild. They're like, what did she do? They were hunting down the procedure she had done. They were hunting down the doctor that she used, and now all of a sudden, everybody's popping up with the same type of facelift. So this is the Lindsay effect, but I will also say this much. If you're thinking about doing any kind of procedure, wait, because what I gather from this is, you know, the plastic surgery industry is always evolving and getting new techniques. The facelift of the 1990s, you don't want that face. Nobody wants that face. That face was not a good face. But the face of today with the new technology, and they know where to pull and what to tuck and what, now it's like, oh, so if you're gonna get it, just wait. Let them perfect it. And then go get that because Kris looks good.
She looks good.
She looks good.
I'm sorry, you haven't spoken yet. But I just thought of a genuine question for you because we love each other so much. Oh my God,
Yes,
we love each
we
other
love each other
so much. But my question is, you brought up a thing like, you know, we do things to slow down aging, like getting a knee replaced. That comparison, I just thought about it. But getting a knee fixed when you're getting older is helping with your mobility and your health. Truly genuine question. What does that do? What does the face do?
I don't think it has to do anything. I don't think anything has to be for any reason other than your own personal satisfaction and enjoyment.
That's a good answer.
If you're not hurting anybody, and I'll be honest, I would celebrate someone who chooses to do nothing as much as I celebrate somebody who wants to
you might
everything.
do that, but I will say that there is something that we do this. I'm counting myself. We often will celebrate women who like look amazing when we don't know, again, to your point, the hundreds of thousands of dollars that went into that. And let's be honest, that's not accessible for 90% of the population. So I just wonder if there's going to be these two extremes where there's people walking around with amazing faces as they get older who are like, you know, a certain wealth level, and then everybody else is like, it becomes then a conversation about rich and poor.
Absolutely.
As opposed to even beauty
but
or
I just
like
think,
youth.
yes, but I will never tell anybody how to spend their money on anything. And I think, to me, when I just sort of look, I don't know why people think and expect that women owe the culture natural aging. I don't owe the culture anything.
They don't. I will say, though, there is a trickle-down effect because I'm wrestling with all this. I think so many people are because we're all on social media and we see all these little tweaks and twacks and whatever it is.
It's good work.
Whatever.
Well, give me one of them twacks.
Twack. But Jason, my other half, he gets really upset because he's worried about who are you hanging out around with, what kind of influence is having, your circle, and he said this to me the other day. He's like, he pulled up a picture of Demi Moore, who is beautiful, who's wonderful, who's had acknowledged the work that she's had done, and he's like, I don't think this looks right. He said, I honestly don't think. What I do think is beautiful is this picture of, and he said Audrey Hepburn, and I think we have the picture here, and I reacted to this.
She does look beautiful.
She does look beautiful, but we don't. She's younger than Kris Kardashian is right now. And she died.
That's a great photo to bring up.
Died at 62 years of age.
Wow.
And I just can't help but think like we have shifted our perspective on what we think someone beautiful should look like as they're aging.
I actually think she looks beautiful. And I wouldn't say she doesn't. I really do.
I know.
I really do.
I do too, but I think that that's rare now when we uphold women, especially who are in the public eye. Increasingly, there's an expectation that she will have work done. If she can afford it, she will have that done. And I just think, what is this about? Like, there's going to be the people who age gracefully and the people who age honestly. Like, I do think that
I don't know, but okay, hold on.
system.
Not to get too deep into this.
No,
but
let's
we're
do
in it.
it.
We're in it.
Let's dive in.
I love this.
But isn't what women have been fighting for since the beginning of time choice? And isn't part of choice even supporting women who don't make choices that you would make? I think that there's one thing to look at Kris, and I think we can objectively say she looks great, but I also think she looked great before. But I also think it's not me to tell her what to do with her body. Part of women's lib is bodily autonomy. So she looks great, and she did what she wanted to do.
And I totally agree with you. I love that we live in a time that if you don't like something, you can fix it. And no one should judge you for it. And we also live in a time if you want to grow gracefully and you're that beautiful, go for it.
I would just like to say, are we deluding ourselves, though, with this idea that we're choosing this? Yeah, hear me out. Like you're saying, like, I have the choice. I have the choice. I'm making this decision.
Sure.
But you're not talking about, what, hundreds of years of history of being told how to look and beauty, fashion,
I'm going to tell you
things
something.
and so on.
If Kris
I think it's a deluded.
Yeah.
It's a
No,
deluded
I get what
choice.
you're saying. I know what they're telling us in our ear. We have to shut up, okay? But I do want to say, not that I'm trying to have last word. I also think that there's something to be said. If she feels confident in how she looks and she wakes up with confidence, and if that facelift got her there or whatever reportedly was done, who am I to say you're not allowed to be confident? Who am I to say that?
But if all
Listen, our
women
producers are going to lose their
just refuse to do this
the rap.
If all women, if all women just refuse to do this also, then that would also send a different message to these
I'll
places
refuse to do it.
who are,
Fine. I'll
who are
retribute. I'll
making all
refuse to do
kinds
it.
of money.
I don't have
from
the
us. Anyway, that's
I'll
all.
refuse to do it.
Guys, that was a great convo. We had a lot of fun there, didn't we? We had a lot of
This
fun.
was great.
You did make a good point. It's like, are we choosing?
After the next break, that was for the ladies. Maybe this is for the ladies, because it is the thirst trap that broke the internet. We're going to be talking about that Bad Bunny photo when we come back. We've been having very important conversations. Here's another one. Bad Bunny in his tighty whities. Very important.
Yep.
Well, the rapper slipped this thirst trap into a recent photo dump on Instagram. Okay, so what do we think of men posting thirst traps? But for our lovely lady in the audience, what is a thirst trap? Anybody want to
a thirst trap is a photo that you take and you know that people are going to double tap on it because you're looking real good, because you're half naked and you got your bits and pieces out. That's a thirst trap. You did it on,
I'm going to trap you. You think a close-up? No.
No.
More than that. No, not a close-up.
Not a close-up.
First,
a sexy picture that you know that people are going to
You're
see.
trying to lure them in.
Trap them.
They're thirsty. You're going to trap them in with your junk. Okay?
Yes.
That's what you're going to do.
Now that we've established a definition, I think there is a fine line between hot and ick. And hear me out. It depends, for me, it depends on the age, the job, and the marital status of the person posting the picture. Bad Bunny is a 31-year-old single international pop star. Click away. We are going to double tap on that tighty whitey. Now, if he's Benny Ocasio from the accounting department at 31 posting that picture, it's it. It's like, what are you doing, Benny? No one wants to see that. We're going to see you in the hallway. What are you doing? Put your clothes on. It's weird. It's very weird. But if it was connected, if Benny in accounting was connected to like something he does, that maybe he's a fitness trainer in his time off, then it'd be different. I don't know if you guys have been watching this guy named Ashton Hall. Have you seen these videos? There's this guy who's thirst trapping, but he is a collegiate athlete who's turned into a fitness influencer.
I need a photo.
Here we go.
You had me at horse.
Right? Exactly, girl. It's a horse, all right. See, now that it's not as ick because he is a trainer and he's showing you his muscles so you can understand
job to
how
be a
hard he
thirst trap,
works.
though.
Yes, it's
This
about
is
his
literal job.
His regimen that we're very focused on. So that's for me
Andrea,
the
I'm
difference.
still stuck on horse.
Oh, we're all stuck on the horse, baby.
God. I love how you really broke it down. You really thought about this and like what, yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I don't mind a thirst trap so much, but you know what? I like them when they're kind of accidental. Not like when it's their job, but it's like someone posts a photo, let's say, and they just happen to be saving like someone's life, or you know, helping an older person across the street.
In their underwear?
And they don't have any clothes on. And you're like, oh my God, you're so nice. I like this photo.
That's a thirst trap, baby.
You've done some accidental thirst traps of Simon.
All the time.
Like you do. I feel like I've seen Simon in his underwear.
I thought you were gonna say I do accidental.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Every photo I take is an accidental thirst trap. And like, look at me, I'm so goofy.
Oh God. I have conflicted feelings about this as well. Like I definitely zoomed in. Like I want to see it all in this particular one. But I also find it like I want to know. Like it's a bit desperado. Like it's a little bit look at me. What is behind? If it was my partner who decided to do this, I'd have questions. Like all of a sudden I'd be like, what is going on and what? And I don't specify this in terms of gender. Like I think it's the same for women too. Like
Why do you need all this
Why do you need
external
this? What if I
validation?
told you? Okay, so what if Jason's like, Cynthia, I'm gonna post a thirst trap of me in my Calvin Klein undies, but it's attached to an $8 million contract, which is what Bad Bunny has with Calvin Klein.
Well, there's the reasoning now. Okay.
Wait, he could have taken those underwear, put them on his bed, taken a photo of them. He didn't have to put them on. He didn't have to put them on.
I'm just saying, if my husband came home and said, honey, I'm gonna post a thirst trap and it's worth $8 million, I'd be like, give me the camera, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Listen, for $8 million, we'll all take off our clothes and put on.
So, ma'am, that
Hopefully
is the
someone's
thirst
getting
trap.
that.
Are you happy? Yes, that is the thirst trap. Well, we are a show of many things here today. Let's take another break. Iconic Prairie pub food is coming up next. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. Our next guest is a food writer inspired by the rich culinary scene of the Canadian prairies.
Today, he's shining a spotlight on some of the iconic dishes made famous by local pubs. Say hello to Dan Clapson. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Dan, before we get into the food, we want to take a moment to acknowledge the wildfires that are ongoing in Manitoba and Saskatchewan, and we are thinking of everyone who's impacted by that. You, of course, are from, you grew up in Saskatoon, so how are your loved ones doing?
So the fires are not really close to the cities, but I mean, cabin life is very much a thing in the prairies, right? So a lot of people maybe can't access their cabins, or there's a bad smoke everywhere. So yeah, I appreciate that. Wildfires are bad and they happen in a lot of different places now.
Yeah. Let's go on to happier things,
Onward and upward.
which are these delicious-looking dishes you've brought in. And we're going to start our trip to the prairies in Winnipeg and try the famous Fat Boy Burger.
Yes, I'm not sure if there's any prairie people in the audience here, but a Fat Boy Burger is... Thank you. I like it. We love it. We love to see it. So the Fat Boy Burger is Winnipeg's own. It dates back to, I believe, the 60s. And this burger, it's a amped up cheeseburger, somewhat similar to a banquet burger you'd find in Toronto, but they put spiced meat sauce on it. That's the main twist here. And cheese on the bottom. So
How did you do that?
I'll let you dive in. So the meat sauce, what makes it different is it's meat sauce you'd find in something like moussaka. So there's some spices in there like cinnamon and clove, really warming, really nice. So that really sets it apart.
It is amazing. I understand that the building order of this burger is crucially important.
Yes.
Talk about that.
For Fat Boy purists, you want to start with... Well,
Sorry.
I'm not joking.
No, I love it.
I can't have anyone from Winnipeg getting mad at me today. But so you start with a sesame seed bun, lots of mayo on top. Then you go with iceberg.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah, tomato slices. And then you put pickle spears. This is the standard, the classic. Some people put the medallions, but the spear is really like the OG way to do it.
Okay.
Followed by a lot of meat sauce, a patty, cheese, diced onion, and then of course the bottom with a bit of mustard.
Now, are there different variations for the Fat Boy Burger?
So purists would say no, but
Yeah.
but like some places do, it might have a cornmeal bun, or the pickles might be slightly different, or the onions are on top. But fundamentally, you're going to find all of these elements in the burger for sure.
Man, it's a good burger.
It's amazing.
Good, right?
You have a tip of how to give our homemade burgers a bit of an added restaurant quality. Which, hot tip, my grandmother used to do this as well.
Oh, like steaming the buns, yeah. So if steaming the buns is not hard, you can do it in the microwave, which is how I prefer to do it. So you can do this for any kind of burger. It's not just this burger, obviously. If you wet a paper towel and put it with like a plastic bowl or a dome in the microwave for 15, 20 seconds, it'll soften the buns and you get that sort of like pillowy, restaurant quality, which we
Love.
it.
What else could you do with the meat sauce on here?
I mean, I eat it on anything. Like a chili dog, a sloppy Joe, you put on roast potatoes. You can even have it for breakfast with an egg.
Oh yeah,
why not?
that would be delicious.
Yeah, a lot of different
Okay, so
things.
next we're traveling to your hometown of Saskatoon, and we're going to try some boneless dry ribs.
Whoa!
Tell us about how you made them.
Well, first and foremost, I don't know why we call them dry ribs, because they're not actually ribs. It's chopped up pork tenderloin. But
Oh, okay.
I know, that's our little Saskatchewan secret there. But how I make them at home is I like to brine chopped up pork tenderloin. I just make a basic brine out of white vinegar, a bit of water, some sugar, some salt, bay leaf garlic. Let that soak for a bit, so it helps it, of course, flavor, but also from overcooking when you fry it. A light batter, and then you can cook it in a traditional pot, but air fryer would work just as well for sure.
Talk to me about this dip.
Yes, so this is honey dill dip, which I know if you're from Manitoba, you may say, hey, we have this dip too, but the boneless dry ribs and honey dill dip is a combo that's Saskatchewan specific, and it's really simple. At a pub, you'd get it made with mayo, dry dill, and a little bit of mustard, and here I just add in some fresh herbs and some pickle juice. I love pickle
My God,
juice.
I love pickle juice too, and the fresh dill is so nice.
Oh yes, nice and bright.
The rub on this, like the crispiness, it is so good.
I mean,
it is delicious.
That comes down to a deep fryer versus an air fryer, I would say.
Okay.
So I mean,
so
hot
you do
oil
have
can be your friend.
to, you got to deep fry these. I can't make these at home in the oven.
If you can, but if you want the true crispy experience, I would recommend frying in sort of like a Dutch oven or cast
okay,
iron
I can
pot
do
would be
that.
good.
I
Yeah,
can do that.
yeah.
Okay.
It's easier than you think, for sure.
Okay, so next up, you've brought this Greek-style pizza, which I've never seen anything quite like this. What's the origin behind this?
So I actually flew with this pizza from Calgary. This is
What?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
there we go. That's where they clap.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
And I will say, if you fly carry-on with food, you can't bring ice cubes or gel packs, so I took frozen blocks of spinach, and that kept it cold the whole way. So,
oh my God, that's very clever.
yeah, I'm weird and fly with pizza, so there we go. So this is a Greek-style pizza, or Greek family restaurant-style pizza. You can find it across the prairies, but Regina would claim it perhaps as Regina-style pizza.
Okay.
And the main takeaway from this kind of pizza is a bit of a thicker crust. You can see lots of cheese around the edges,
Yeah.
and you can see a lot of cheese on top.
Yeah.
And then they actually broil the top of it, so you can see it's like golden brown. You don't really get that with a lot of different types of pizza across the country, so this would be specific to the prairies.
Oh my God, and Greek made.
Yes, Greek made. So in the sauce, you'll also get a bit of oregano, a bit of sweetness, so the pizza sauce is different as well. And I mean, not that I've ever had a hangover, but if I did, I think this would cure it.
Oh my gosh, this is delicious.
Yeah.
So our final stop is Alberta, and since we're on a pub tour, you brought a famous cocktail for us to try. What do we
Yes.
have here?
So this is the Shaft. This is a cocktail.
The shaft.
The Shaft.
The shaft.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Just wanted to
I know,
make sure I got that correctly.
this
Do
is
we
a-
want to talk about the origin of the name of
A
that?
bit of a callback to your thirst trap photos.
exactly.
There we go. So it's a spin on the espresso martini. All that's different with it is that there's an addition of Irish cream liqueur in it. It's a shaken drink, so you have a coffee liqueur, the Irish cream. You can put a bit of cream in there as well just to amp it up. Vodka, shake it, have it over ice. It was created at the Living Room, allegedly, on 17th Avenue in Calgary. And when I was younger, we would just order it and drink it really fast, but I'm not sure if that's tradition or if that's just how we did it.
Okay.
Okay.
Looking back now.
But seriously, what is the origin of the name of Shaft?
It's tied to the movie, actually.
Oh,
yeah,
fantastic.
the famous
Okay,
movie. So,
the
yeah.
famous movie,
Yeah.
got it.
Okay, so for our last dish, we're staying in Alberta to sample a steak sandwich.
Yes.
Tell us about this.
I feel like I'd be remiss to not include steak sandwiches in this, and obviously, yeah, it looks really beautiful.
Wow.
So Alberta is obviously the epicenter of Canadian beef, right? It's definitely part of our food identity, our food fabric in Alberta. And so here, depending on where you go, you can get a steak sandwich many different ways. Virtually, I would say, broadly speaking, most restaurants and pubs and steakhouses will all have a steak sandwich. So here I've done it with a sirloin tip, which is a cheaper cut of beef. I mean, if you want to save some money, it's a great option. And then you marinate it first, so you get that tenderness with it still. That's always a great tip with cheaper cuts of beef. And then I served it on top with some pickled onions and herbs, just for pop of color. On the base is garlic toast, a bit of cheese. I mean, can't go wrong, really.
I love this because the marinating really works because my teeth went right through it.
it.
Do you know what I mean? Like without
And the,
No,
and
we
the
don't want that
dill
with the- yeah.
aspect.
But you have a
Brightness.
great suggestion for when we do serve, let's say, at a dinner party,
Yeah.
pricier meats, how
Yes.
to stretch it out a bit.
Yes, so people like luxury, but luxury can be expensive. So if you do, there's nothing wrong with getting a pricey cut of beef for a steak sandwich at home, but if you pre-slice the meat before you serve it, this even goes for like cooking a steak on the grill.
Right.
Pre-slicing it before you serve it, people are gonna eat less. You don't need to cook 6 steaks for 6 people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love this. I love
that
this.
too.
Great.
Okay, so what is this marinade that Jess was mentioning that you made for the steak?
I put a mixture of horseradish, mustard, a little bit of vinegar. I have some sliced onions in there. And then you let it sit for a while. And you can keep the onions in the juice after. We cook them down after we grilled the steaks. And they turn into caramelized onions that are at the bottom of the toast there.
I love it. Okay, so are there other variations of this sandwich?
If you go to, I don't want to say upscale restaurant, but like a steakhouse may use their leftover prime rib and have it carved the next day.
Okay.
So that's always a good option. Again, any sort of like leftover beef can be repurposed sort of in this format. All you need is like I just like white toast for this, honestly, because I don't like a hard sourdough crust with this.
It's gonna hurt your
soft
mouth.
and,
Yeah.
again, something
Yeah,
soft
yeah,
and
yeah.
like melt in your mouth, you know?
So
Just
good.
like the beef.
We love when you stop by. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been fantastic. And after the break, lawyer and disability advocate Lindsay Mazza talks to us about the power of self-advocacy. Stay with us.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, born with Holt-Oram syndrome, our next guest grew up with a visible disability and spent most of her life hiding it.
And it wasn't until the passing of her father, who shared the same rare genetic condition, that she decided it was time to speak up and be a voice for the next generation. In celebration of National Accessibility Week, she's here to share her story and spotlight what kids with disabilities really need and why it goes beyond ramps and checklists. Please welcome lawyer turned inclusive leader, expert, and disability advocate, Lindsay Mazza. I want to make sure I got that right. Good to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Well, Lindsay, what we find so fascinating about your story is that you say that you were hiding in plain sight during your
Yes.
life with your disability. What does that mean?
Yeah, so I never talked about my disability. I learned at a young age that it didn't serve me. I wasn't seen the way I needed to be seen by those that were in my life that I needed to lean on to help me. So I built this wall of protection around myself, and I thought if I just pretend it doesn't exist and I work harder and I figure things out, then people won't limit me.
Interesting. Now, you spent years disassociating, but I understand you've had some moments where that kind of snapped you back into it. Would you mind sharing one of those experiences with us?
Yeah, so, you know, Holt-Oram syndrome affects, you know, the limbs and heart. And like you said, my dad had it. But I truly didn't start talking about it until about a year ago. So my best friend for almost 2 decades didn't know what my disability was called. It was just everybody around me knew that it was a topic that I wasn't comfortable with. So it was really beautiful of them to respect that and treat me like everyone else. But there were many moments. One story in particular, a friend of mine who's a lawyer said to me, you know, they're looking for more judges. You should apply to be a judge, follow in your dad's footsteps. And I said, literally, I said, dude, like, I'm a white woman. Why would they appoint me? And she goes, you have a disability. And I remember feeling gut punched by that statement. Like, oh my God, the cat's out of the bag, which is a crazy, crazy statement. But that's truly how disassociated I was. I was rejecting myself for my entire life.
What a story.
Yeah.
Well, you know, as a parent, one of the first things we teach kids are the adults that you can trust and who are safe for you. But unfortunately, for part of your life growing up, that was not necessarily the case for you. Can you tell us that story?
Yeah, so I learned early on that I couldn't really trust adults that I was supposed to be able to trust. Teachers gave me most of the traumatic incidents in my life. And my first experience was at the age of 6. And every year my parents would make accommodation arrangements with my principal and teacher. And one of them was a buddy system for me, which would allow my friend to come with me to the washroom in case I needed help. And a few weeks into grade 1, I asked to go to the washroom and my teacher said, you can go, but you have to go alone. And at 6 years old, I said to her, but miss, my mom and dad told me I was allowed to bring my friend. And I pleaded with her and she still said no. And off I went on my own, and I problem solved. But I really learned that I had to be my own advocate from a very young age, and I learned to not trust adults.
Wow. Did you tell anybody about that teacher and what they did to you?
Yeah, because, you know, I came out of the womb precocious, so my mom says she always knew
Good.
I was gonna be a lawyer, so I went home, told my parents, and my parents were really smart about making sure I was present when they advocated for me. So they, in unison, marched me to school the next day and made sure that it was dealt with.
Yeah, and I love that you're crediting your parents for giving you that strength to, like, when you're talking to adults, to feel empowered. So what advice would you give to parents who are teaching their child about self-advocacy?
I think number one is that you really need to let children trust their instincts. So because I had to be hyper vigilant and always look out for things that I needed, I learned to trust my instincts. And if it wasn't a safe space for me, my parents respected that. The other thing is there has to be an open and ongoing conversation with your children. They need to be part of the problem solving. They are the ones that know how they need to do things differently, and it needs to be solution-based, not pointing out why it's an issue, because then it's normalized. And the other thing is, don't let your kids be in the room with doctors and teachers who are talking about all the things they can't do. It's very damaging. It is not their role. Your child is an individual. How they do things will vary from every single person, just like people without disabilities. So I think it's really, really important not to categorize people and put them in boxes.
Yeah, all powerful for all parents and kids, for sure. Okay, we want to fast forward a little bit because you have built a multi-city law firm. Congratulations, that's huge.
Right?
But as you've already told us, you know, the journey in the legal profession was not an easy one for you. For example, is it true that you were denied accommodations to write your law school entrance exam?
I was, and I chose law because I thought it was it would be a natural progression for me. It's supposed to be built on advocacy and equality, but I was denied. I had to appeal the process because my case wasn't compelling enough. And then when I went to law school, the accommodations were lacking. And then when I became a lawyer, the accessibility is just not present. It's bare minimum. The courthouses are not accessible. So for my entire career, I've had to problem solve and create my own solutions.
Wow. All right, so Lindsay, if you had a message beyond self-advocacy, what would it be?
The first, quickly, is that DEI is a major topic right now, and most companies and people are focused on the D of the acronym. Diversity does not mean inclusion, and people with disabilities are left out of that equation. Often we are ticking boxes based on gender equality and racial issues, and accessibility is really, really lacking, and Canada is one of the most advanced countries and it's still not accessible. And then my second would be, stop rejecting yourself. Whether you have a visible difference or not, we are all hiding part of ourselves, which is why Hiding in Plain Sight was born, because the more I talked to people, the more I realized how relatable that topic is. And once you step into all of yourself, life changes.
Huge.
Wow, great message. Lindsay, thank you so much for stopping by and sharing your story with us. Everybody watching, everybody in the studio audience, you can find more information on Lindsay and her story at lindsaymaza.com. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. All right, next time on the show, we're going to be speaking to the Canadian who designed the first ever championship ring for the Professional Women's Hockey League.
Very cool, very cool.
Sports, bling, yes please. Also, we're going to be speaking to Jack Annanen, who is the star of Adults. It's a new comedy about 20-somethings navigating life after college. I feel like we're going to get into a time machine with Jack. Don't forget, we are on Crave. If you've missed us, YouTube. We've also got our podcast on all our social media channels. The conversation ends now, but it never ends online. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. See you next time.